Tonight, at the table, we've got a fighter who's building something serious. He's undefeated across multiple disciplines and taking over the brand new world of bare knuckle fighting, where there's nowhere to hide and there's no room for error. He's Philly bred, battle tested, and proving himself every time he steps into that ring. He's not just talking about it, he's being about it. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you, Cody Chaos Russell.
Gentlemen, how are we this evening? Guys, I'm Will. Sorry, dude. I'm scared. Can I start you guys off with something? We got drinks. Can I start you with something to eat?
My friend?
Can I do the telly with Scrapple?
Yeah, you can.
Perfect.
I'm going to do the Lou Eggs Benedict. Yes.
All right, you got it, guys.
Thank you
Kelly
very
coming up. Don't mess it up.
Cody, my friend.
Pleasure.
Thank you very, very much for joining me. It's an honor. Well, first and foremost, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself for anyone who might not know you. Yeah. Just give us a little rundown.
Cody Russell here. I am a professional fighter for BKFC. My two fights for BKFC have been the two biggest in the company's production.
Okay.
So both have been in Philly. Mm-hmm. Philly's a big town. But last KnuckleMania, we kind of made our introduction, and it ended up being record-setting for BKFC. Largest crowd, I think we did just over 17,000. And I kind of got my foot in the door. It was crazy. BKFC,
yeah,
wild sport. And then we kind of had a quick turnaround, and then had another KnuckleMania in Philly, but we grew the attendance by maybe 500 or 600. So we went over 18,000 this time. And it was just as crazy as the first time.
In the Xfinity Mobile Arena.
Correct.
That is dope, bro.
And then we're back July 3rd.
Oh my goodness. Why is bare knuckle associated with Philly?
I think if you look at Philly, Rocky, right, it's such a theme. It's a fighting city. That's why they're so harsh and so loving at the same time. If you look at any Philly fan, they go hard for their team, whether they're doing well or whether they're not doing well. They're passionate.
Yeah. So it was a culture thing?
I think it's so. I think if you grow up, especially in the city of Philadelphia, you grow up fighting. You have to, it's kind of how you get your colors or build yourself.
Right.
You never ask someone that grew up in Philly and they're like, oh, I've never been into a fight before. Maybe the outskirts, like the main line and stuff like that, but the city of Philly, it's just something in their blood.
Yeah. Are you from the city?
I am not, actually. I grew up in Delaware County, initially Drexel Hill. And then I moved to Aston when I was in 4th grade. Mm-hmm. And then I myself actually went to Episcopal in the main line. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a different culture. Mm-hmm. And then it's weird to go from Episcopal to BKFC. It's completely different.
What do you mean?
I think I'm the only person in Episcopal's history that did not further their education and went down the road of fighting.
started bashing skulls.
Yeah.
Nice, dude. Well, so even when you were younger, were you always into martial arts your whole life?
I wrestled since I was very young, and my dad had me wrestling and doing football, but wrestling was more so to stay in shape for football. But I'm 5'9", I'm not going anywhere for football. Mm-hmm. So I was always very competitive, and then wrestling was just to keep me in shape. You know, it was just like, all right, football was my passion growing up, and then wrestling, I'm just super competitive. My dad had me in weekend tournaments since I was in like kindergarten. So he just kind of instilled the athleticism and the core values of like being active, being competitive, not settling for even wins for that matter. I remember I was young, I would get in trouble if I like didn't care about a match and won closer than I should have. Or like competed down in my competition, which is a good core value to have. And then he would praise me like if I wrestled up in competition, gave a harder match. He didn't really care necessarily about the wins or the losses, but more so about individual performance and holding myself to my own standard.
Right. So you wrestled forever. When did you get into striking? Because there's no wrestling in the...
No.
Yeah.
So I wrestled throughout high school. I gave football a shot at Wagner College for a year. And then when I came home from that brief year, my uncle trained martial arts at Balance Studios down in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And at that time, he already trained Benson Henderson, who was a former world champion. And then I always kind of looked up to my uncle. He was the cool uncle, you know?
Yeah.
And then when I did my senior project, it was with him in this gym. And then when football didn't work out, he's like, why don't you just give fighting a shot? And I was like, yeah, I loved it the week that I did it, or like the week trial. And then I went in there and gave it a shot, and it was the best thing for me.
You gave fighting a shot? Like you're saying you fought a match?
No. So I did training, but I don't do things half in or half out typically. So the week that I started, I was like, all right, I love this. I love the people in the gym too. Like, it's very competitive, but they're all there to help each other.
Yeah.
So I just fell in love within the first week, and then the first 6 months, I kind of shed off some of that football weight. So I went from 245 to 175 in that first 6 months. And then they had me do a few jiu-jitsu tournaments first, then a kickboxing match, and then my first MMA fight later on that year. And it just took off from there.
And so your uncle, being in that area, did he just have connections and he could get you set up with a mixed martial arts fight? Is that how that works?
It is. So he was the striking coach, but the main coach was Ricardo Miglioris, and he's been around the game for a very long time. He trained with the Gracies. He gets promoted through the Gracie. So they'll come out to Philadelphia. They'll do their promotions, but they're the actual ones that promote him.
Gotcha.
So he's been in the game a very, very long time. So I kind of had the striking aspect, and I had one of the best jiu-jitsu coaches that I could possibly ask for.
Right.
And between the two of them, they kind of morphed the entire game of MMA together. And so getting fights, how it works is you'll have promoters for different leagues. You talk to them like, hey, my guy wants to have a fight, and then they'll do a matchmaker. So they'll try to pair you up with someone that's similar in record, similar in style. So it's not like your first fight you're getting thrown to like a professional. They try to like pair it up pretty evenly.
Right. How did the whole bare knuckle thing come to be? You know, you said, what did you say you started, your first professional fight was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
When did this bare knuckle league start?
I think it started maybe 7 or 6 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So it's still fairly new.
Yeah.
But it's just really taken off now. So in the beginning, it was hard for them to get approved by the athletic commissioners in certain states. But now it's getting approved easier, and it's becoming international. And it's becoming more recognized because people like the violence of it.
Yeah.
As crazy as that is.
Yeah.
Something about human nature.
Yeah, well, I remember, you know, my dad was real into UFC, and the first UFCs, that's how it was.
Yeah, there was no weight classes or anything in the beginning.
Right. You had Hoist Gracie, all tiny, going up some gigantic, you know, Ken
Some of them were
Shamrock.
wearing shoes back in the day.
Yeah. So somehow they were like, let's get away from this, teeth flying out, but then it all came back around.
Yeah. I don't know. You would think as a culture we would be shifting like to more safety like football is.
Yeah.
Football is like padding on the helmets. No, like fighting, we're going the complete opposite way. But people love it, and yeah, it's so chaotic that it makes it entertaining.
Yeah.
Because anything can happen. When you look at an MMA fight, unfortunately, as good as some of the wrestlers may be, no one wants to see that unless you're involved or trained day to day. They just want quick action. They want instant gratification.
Yeah, what's more entertaining.
Yeah.
Right, like maybe that takes more skill or what have you, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're undefeated.
Yes.
What do you attribute your success to?
My team. A lot of it's my team and the people I surround myself with. Like I said in the beginning, it was my uncle and Ricardo Miglioris. And along that I had Basil, Hafez, Anton, Joe Pfeiffer, Andre Petrowski. All those guys ended up in the UFC. Just good core people to be around. And then you have to have work ethic, but a lot of it is who you surround yourself with.
Right.
If you surround yourself with people that are lower than you, you're going to settle and you're going to be average. A lot of times the people, like right now, I'm in a boxing gym. It's called Chaos Boxing. Happily admit I'm one of the lower tier boxers there. A lot of the guys have been doing it all their life. We have guys like Ray Robinson, Jesse Hart that are top of the world. And so I will happily be at the bottom and want to go somewhere to work up than be like a big fish in a little pond and not go anywhere. Because now I know when I get into a fight or I'm going into a fight, I'm like, my training partners, the guy I'm fighting isn't anywhere near as competitive as the guy I'm training with every day.
Right.
So it kind of reverses and gives you confidence when you go into a fight, even though you're not the big fish in the little pond.
Right. That mindset, that applies to like everything in life. You know, if you want to grow in life, you should surround yourself with
better people.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's something that's really key for me in my life. So when you say that, I'm like, yes, that hits for sure. Was it a big adjustment going from, 10 years ago, your first fight, traditional gloves and this and that? When they asked you to do the bare knuckle, you're like, would you take a second?
It wasn't no hesitation. I was like, absolutely. How can I get on this card?
Yeah.
Because at the time I was training with Eddie Alvarez, and he was the main event for it. And I looked up to Eddie a lot. And then they're like, hey, do you want to fight? At the time, it was Wells Fargo. And I was like, yeah, no questions asked. Get me on that card. If you fight in Philly, your dream is to fight at Wells Fargo or now Xfinity Mobile.
Right.
Because it's in front of all the people that you have been fighting for.
Right.
And at the grandest event.
Yeah. What was that moment like when you walked out there? I saw you posted something.
It's
I was like,
tough.
I can't imagine.
So you don't feel it until afterwards, or at least I didn't feel it until afterwards. And then it feels like a dream the next day. So when you walk out, it's very tunnel vision. It's very focused. I try not to even look upwards because I want my presence to be very aware and in the moment. Mm-hmm. And I feel if I look up or really like see all the stimulants, then it will kind of throw me off my game. So in the beginning, it's all focus, but then once they stop the fight, it is such a high and such a drug that your body's just filled with, it's almost a unexplainable feeling. It's just the highest of highs because you're fighting in front of everyone that you've ever known. The chance that you're taking is so high, and not to discredit any other sports, but our sport in particular, if you lose, it's the most humbling feeling because you get knocked out in front of millions of people. You basically become someone else's highlight reel.
Right.
So the risk is so high that when everything goes the way that it's supposed to, especially in front of the people that you love, there's no better feeling.
Right. Well, you just mentioned you're locked in when you're out there. Because one of the things I was going to ask about was the mental aspect of the whole thing. When you're at this level, I mean, you train your butt off, but how much of this whole thing is a mental game?
Majority of it. Majority of it's mental. The first fight was surprisingly easier mentally than this fight was. The first fight, I had a litter of puppies that hit the ground the month of the fight. So I had so much external stress that I wasn't really thinking about the fight in itself, which kind of circled back to playing out in my favor. Uh-huh. So by the time I got to fight day, I was like, we're here, we're doing this.
Right.
This fight, I had no external stress. Fight was going great. Camp was going great. Training, everything, no injuries. Even wake up was going good. So my mind, or your mind, starts creating stress because your mind needs a certain level of stress to expend every day. And when you don't have that stress, I feel like it just creates it. So this one, I was just more overthinking, and then I just had to daily affirmation myself almost every day.
Right. Do you feel any pressure right now from being undefeated?
No, that was never where my stress came from. I just stress is I guess you are competing in front of everyone that you love, but it was more so I didn't want to compete lower or let the fans down because at that point it was the first time performing in front of 18,000 people, and that in itself, I wasn't sure how I was going to adjust to fighting in front of 2,000 people to then just jumping up and fighting in front of 18,000 people. So I didn't want to get starstruck or caught in the moment.
Yeah, can't imagine.
No.
Where did you fight before? You said 2,000 people?
Usually, Live Casino, 2300 Arena was a big one. I fought there a lot. Rivers Casino, all local, but smaller venues.
Do you think after this you'll have a chance to travel and go anywhere?
I hope so. I was supposed to travel for this fight, but then FIFA is coming to Philly that Saturday for 4th of July weekend, and the mayor asked BKFC to host an event that Friday night. I think they're trying to do like a big weekend down in Philadelphia.
Yeah, well, I think it's massive. I mean, we were saying this before. That is the 250th anniversary of the country in the birthplace of the country. So it's going down there. In the epicenter, you said FIFA. I mentioned the MLB All-Star games going on there. This is going to be a huge July, dude.
Yeah.
The epicenter of sports entertainment right now.
I know BKFC is doing everything in their power to break the last record, which was over 18,000 people.
Yeah.
So, fingers crossed we make that happen and we secure another win there and
Now,
going forward.
maybe you don't know, but you mentioned Philly, and Philly has a big culture for the fighting. Do they have anywhere else? Anybody say anything to you like, oh, this place is also really cool and a really big fighting culture place?
I'm not sure. I know Florida has BKFC has a lot of fights in Florida.
Yeah.
But right now we're Philadelphia as a city is crushing every event that we've had here by a landslide. It's not even close. So it's called KnuckleMania.
Yeah.
It's the biggest.
Pardon the interruption.
Oh, thank you, brother. Yeah, we did.
We're going 2 for 2 here.
Easy with this guy.
All right, guys, enjoy.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All good for you?
The best. Breakfast place in town.
Hey,
by a
I
landslide.
love you. Thank you, buddy. So, how much time goes in between one fight to the next? When was your last one?
It was February 7th.
Okay, and you're bouncing back in July. Is that a typical 5 months or?
It depends.
Yeah.
A lot of injuries happen.
Yeah.
This past fight was the first fight I basically didn't sustain an injury.
Really?
So I was able to have a few month turnaround. When I was doing MMA, I kind of got caught in a limbo phase.
Yeah.
Because I would have a fight, have a knee surgery, have a fight, have a knee surgery. So I wasn't really able to progress anywhere in my career, even though I was undefeated. And then my first BKFC went out there, I won, but I broke my hand, so I was out for 8 weeks. And then this fight was the first one, no injuries. They're like, do you want to fight again in Philly? I'm like, sign me up.
Bro, how often do people break their hands?
Either hands, a lot of orbitals, and a lot of jaws.
Dude, some of these people
Those
be
are
looking
like
crazy.
the 3 trifectas for BKFC.
The orbital, yeah.
Orbital, jaw, or hand. My one teammate broke both of his hands and his foot.
In the same match?
The same match. And then we showed up to the same doctor that following Monday. And they're like, yeah, we're going to do surgery on this one, cast the other one.
Oh, man.
I don't know how he broke his foot. That's still in question.
Right. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So, in the 5-month period, what does training look like to you? What's your week look like?
I took the first month to enjoy things that I necessarily didn't for like those 3-month camp. So I was able to eat food again, had a few drinks, spent some time with quality friends, family, the dogs. Got to give them a little bit more time that gets taken away during camp. And now this month we're basically focusing on getting back into adequate shape. So a lot of isometrics, a lot of cardio, dropping that extra weight that I put on after the fight. And then the start of next month is when camp really starts. So then we ramp everything up. It normally goes to 2-a-days. And then we do sparring 2 to 3 times a week. But basically everything starts to get very dialed in. Weight, training, recovery is a big one. So usually Sundays are the day for recovery, and then we pick everything back up that following Monday.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that the telly could make it into your regiment this time.
I'm so happy that it could.
That's great, man. So I gotta ask, what's your goal with all this? How far do you want to take it? How long do you want to do it? What are your dreams as far as this bare knuckle and just your fighting career in general?
So I think now I'm starting to have two different goals. Initially, the goal was always to be the best. I was very competitive, even since I was a child. So now, still currently, my goal is to win the title. So the short-term goal is 1 to 2 fights, probably looking at 2 fights, and then next KnuckleMania in Philly, I want to fight for the belt in front of my home crowd. That's the short-term goal. My long-term goal is to give back, and that really took off after my last event. We basically made a stand for mental health awareness, and then I didn't realize how many people were going through that or struggling with it until afterwards. I would have strangers come up to me at the bar and just kind of voice what they were going through, and people that you would never expect, like people that I wasn't good friends with, people that I wasn't barely talked to, they would just come up to me and be like, hey, thank you, like, great performance, but I really appreciated your post-fight speech. So it took away from the fighting aspect and kind of made it more humanized.
Why did that hit like so close to home for you?
It's something I struggled with since I was younger. And then especially after college, I didn't really have like a purpose or a sense of direction. And I kind of got lost a little bit mentally. And then I just took a lot of time and self-reflected. And then I realized, because my parents were typical like 90s, like, hey, we're going to keep everything in. We're just going to basically like tough man it out, you know? And now I think as a culture, we're starting to switch where it's starting to become more recognized and more okay to be transparent. And then after the fight, I was like, wow, like it really does matter, because you just have strangers that you gave a voice to but just basically saying it's okay.
Nice, man. What did you say in your post-fight speech that hit with this guy?
I just said my opponent, his co-worker committed suicide before the fight. So I said, basically, life is bigger than a sport. We appreciate everyone that's here, but no matter what you're going through, just keep going, and you'll make it to the other side.
Nice, man.
Yeah. So it hits home for everyone. I think a lot of people, I don't know, the mind's a crazy thing. And,
right.
Everyone has slopes, they have ups, downs, and it's just about seeing it through and keep going.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you. I totally get it. Obviously, me too. Everybody struggles with mental health stuff. Would you say having this purpose, having this, you have this platform to help people, I feel like that would be so fulfilling. And you do have this dream you're chasing. Does that really help a lot?
It does. This was the first fight that I felt proud of, to an extent. Because growing up, I was always told, like, if I scored a touchdown, I didn't really celebrate. I was always, like, very humble in winning, and, like, my dad always instilled, like, not celebrating, to an extent, you know?
Yeah.
Like, not to be cocky, like, if you score a touchdown, it was because you were supposed to score a touchdown.
Right.
That was what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know? And then this one, so fighting, I took that same thing. And then you kind of don't get satisfied with wins, but then you don't even get to take the chance to slow down and enjoy the victory.
Right.
But this one was the first one where, since I gave back and I had, like, gratification of seeing it help other people, that was something I felt proud of.
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah.
When you say that to me sounds like A, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, and B, you made it over some hill, some hurdle, some point in which you needed to get to. That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was cool. I was with my brother for his birthday dinner maybe 2 weeks ago, and a pastor was at the table. Didn't know he was a pastor. And we were just chopping up. They were talking about, like, basically what makes their relationships or what makes them happy. And without me knowing that the guy was a pastor, I noticed everything that he was saying was of service. So he was doing it for other people and not for himself.
Yeah.
And I took time, I was like, so I realized one thing that he was doing that everyone else wasn't doing was not what can I get out of this, but what can I give. And I think naturally we all want self-gratification. Like, what can this do for me? I think, at least for me, this was the first time where I flipped it a little bit, but then in return you just feel a lot more fulfilling.
That's fire.
Yeah.
I love to hear you say that.
Thank you.
I totally, you said you were talking to a pastor. Faith is really important to me. And I've noticed a big shift for me. I work here in the restaurant day to day. Service to others is really what it's all about. That's a really fulfilling thing. Like, I'm happy you said it. I agree with you completely.
But I also feel like that's why this is one of the landmarks of Westchester, because it does have good service, and even your workers, it's the same quality of workers, the same workers a lot of time for years. But you don't get that way from not giving back and not caring about even your own workers rather than the customers. You have a lot of the same customers, a lot of the same workers. That shows something that you're giving back too.
I appreciate you very much, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro. So next fight's in July.
July.
We're super excited about it. I want to be there.
You will be there. You will 100% be there.
Can't wait to see.
We got your birthday that following Tuesday.
Yeah.
We'll make it a good weekend.
Awesome. So I just want to say, man, thank you. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a genuine pleasure. God bless you, and can't wait to see what the future holds for you, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
All right, man.